Good night and welcome to DLP TV. My name is Melissa Howard and I'm your host for tonight. And joining me tonight will be Simon Clarke, DLP hopeful and spokesperson for community development. We have Amoy Gilding-Bourne, candidate for Christchurch East, spokesperson for agriculture, and Mr. Derek Alleyne, former community development leader and the executive assistant to the leader of the opposition. Our topic for tonight is modern concepts for community development. And please free to share your questions in the comments, and we'll try to address them as the show progresses. So when we think of community development, we think of cultural activities, sporting activities, educational activities, economic empowerment, self-empowerment, and faith-based activities. So what do you believe are the most pressing issues facing community development today?
Hi, good night to all viewers, good night to Barbados, good night to the DLP family, and I want to say a special good night to the constituents of St. Philip North. Now, I am the view that those pressing issues that's facing the community right now, we have a lot. We need to address them one by one. I think that crime is really affecting our community now in Barbados. We can see that all Bajans are speaking about it. All stakeholders are speaking about the crime issue in Barbados. That is something that we need to address. And we need to address it collectively. No one entity can do it. We need all members, all citizens. We need church members. We need the NGOs. We need the state agencies. We need everyone to play their role in fighting crime. It is very, very important at this stage. I am begging all Barbadians to let us tackle this here together. Let us fight crime. We must. And I can see that my friend here is ready to speak at this time. Derek.
Mayor, I smile because I watched the estimates made and the budget. I said discussion. It really was after Mr. Thorne finished comment deteriorated into a curse fest. Rather than a debate on some of the issues that he raised and one thing that he raised was a matter of community development, the lack of community participation and activity. And he has started that in the estimates debate.
Yes.
When he raised the issue between really the community officer present about what was happening between 4 o'clock and 30 7 o'clock in community centers. And the officer found it very difficult to put activities in the communities across Barbados. And that is because our community centers and our community programs have not changed since the 1980s. We still got in that paradigm where communities were, you put a little center in, people come in it. And past time, those days long gone. I mean, community development has gone through changes from the days when community development was about building bridges, fixing roads, that the post-war period. It changed into special issues when you were dealing with communities exerting their dominance. Black Power movement that led to a big community of people trying to build something for Black people. Then you had the non-aligned movement. Again, that's another community process of telling small states we are a community of states and we share common interests, common beliefs, we have the same common problems, and therefore we're looking for common solutions. That is community development. It's also about empowering people, giving people a chance to develop their skills, also to make them feel critical to what happens in their communities. And if you are having criminal exercises on a daily basis, only last night, somebody got shot sitting down on a step. It wasn't that he had a cowboy with a gun waiting in people to shoot him. The man was sitting on the step. And somebody just turned up. And then bang, people running out running south. I made a comment that I was sitting down in my normal war sport that you always pass 3 weeks ago. We have blah. First we talk with the captain fire. But in 10 seconds, all of us were on the floor and bottom shot. They no heads down. Only to hear that man got shot in his leg. I didn't see it in video or anything. But the point is, in order for communities to have confidence, I am not going to walk in the communities that have shootings. I am not going to walk and go in a community to party or to dance, to watch football or to watch volleyball. If there is a history of violence, if there's a feeling that I'm going to be in danger. And I'm saying that our community centers still reflect 1980s. Our programming has not changed. Activity in the community have not changed. We have not brought modern technology to bear on our communities. And when they wanted to bring in the computer programs, they changed the community concept into resource centers. No, that changes your thinking. As you said, it's no longer a community center, it is not a resource center. You ask them what resources are available at the center. The blocks of computers and the talk, software, few programs, Excel, they get set up. I didn't think they get past 2 or 3 programs. And then they disappeared. Now you should be able to go into a modern day community center and take a group of kids with you and teach them basic skills. They want to play computer games. You get them to the center, you let them play computer games, you get them off the street into the center, and then you do prayers, you teach them values, you teach them cooperation, collaboration, and then you introduce them to things that you want to introduce them using the same technology. So, I mean, I go over my mother's house, and my nephew, he has a group called the young people who come at the house with him. And they're on their computers and this group chatting in and they're screaming out and they're playing and so on. Those are the community centers should be used for. But if you got them violence knocking around, I and my nephew going to the community center. So they come in the gallery. The gallery now becomes the community center. But the other point you want to make is, I listened to Professor Bailey. He did an lecture last year at the university. Reflections on crime problems and crime in the region. Yes. And he made the point that we build, but the post-colonial Caribbean reflects. So then, the police versus the victim below the crime people, teachers versus the student, the boss versus the employee, and everybody is in conflict and antagonism and so on. So our system that we build, whether it's a prison system or school system, it is always about them and us, rather than connecting each other. And that's what our communities have become, between different divisions in our community. The ones that have, the ones that don't have. The ones that can play and the ones that cannot play. The ones that got bicycles and the ones that don't have. It is them versus us. Police, therefore, don't engage in connections. When I remember when I was a boy and I used to always have to do this, I used to play dominoes in the community center. I played table tennis in the Black Rock Center, draft in the Black Rock Police Center. We were connected to the police. We were not criminals, we were public police, and the boys in the yard were part of a community. And we interacted with the police. The police were not against us or out there. We were connected. And that is what's missing. That's what's missing. And the community development department really needs resources. It needs modern technology. There has to be a new shift in what our community center is about. It's no longer about people playing dominoes and so on. It's about allowing people to be empowered, to be able to get the message in their community. We're bringing the resources into the communities. The probation officers should not be in town. Probation officers should be visiting the community center. The police should be visiting the community center. The welfare department should be visiting the community center. Interact and build the center as a hub.
I see your vision.
Yes.
We are so far from that vision.
Yes.
That is almost sad.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I like the vision. I like the positivity.
That's the DLP vision.
Yes, for sure. and just bouncing off of something you said just now. One of my, what, to answer to your question, I'm saying distrust of the police. That's one of the issues, along with crime, right? In the community, we don't trust the police. And we may have good reason. Not all police are bad police, but more often than not, you hear the public crying out about police brutality, lack of police empathy, lack of knowledge when it comes to domestic violence matters, dealing with minors. I mean, the list goes on. But that's one thing that I believe the Barbados Police Service needs to work on. And not just doing their wanted Mondays, which I have some reservations about myself, but anyhow, that a lot of people seem to like that wanted Mondays. They chuckle at the stuff that comes up and the photos that comes out. As an attorney, I'll say nothing about that. But the Barbados Police Service has a lot of work to do because the public just simply does not trust them. So where things that would require the relationship between the police and the community, you're not getting that. So where information may be forthcoming to the police from the community, you're not going to get that. Nobody's talking to the police. Nobody's telling the police where the pedophiles are. Nobody telling the police who running the guns. Maybe the BLP should tell the police who gangsters they're going to talk to. I don't know. Just saying. I wasn't there.
So you mentioned crime, and you also mentioned the police service.
Distrust.
We have two community areas that have police station within them. You see one in Point, and you see one in Silver Hill where shooting occurred recently.
There's one in Silver Sands too, but it's always empty.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about the police stations in the communities? Are they effective or are they ineffective?
Well, we still have that level of shooting, so I don't know. I don't think that they're as effective as we would like them to be. What really is the position for the police when they come to the police post? Well, I don't know. I am police, but I don't see them too regularly when the post is there. I'm not too certain what they'll be doing there. I don't know.
I would say that the one we have one in Dickens from back in the day, and it did extremely good work. It is not the building. The building is just the meeting point, and focal point. It is the programs that you bring, the connection between the community police and the community. It is not the building, it's the kind of policeman you can recruit that can bring a community development, a social development focus on his work. To bring a police that will come with a big stick to do community police work, it's not going to work. You need a police with an understanding.
As a training is important.
And in those areas, and therefore that was the challenge for the police force, therefore, because Barbados become so concerned about policing that if a dog run at you and you call the police. If whatever happens, call the police. So, and then we don't trust them, but still we got to call them. So I'm saying that our community policing program needs specially trained officers. There need to be a commitment that it is something we want to do. Having a physical complex and a shop is not the answer. The police officer is not only to stay in the physical complex, but he's to be in the community, involved in football, involved in darts, in cake icing, in cake making. I don't know. I do know, but involved in community processes, community development. Going to volleyball. I remember we had one in Dignity. As a matter of fact, he got stabbed in town, like supermarket. I don't want to call it name. But he was our community officer, and he organized cricket. He used to go to volleyball every evening with us. He used to go to the football team, the stadium. So he was like a brother. He was connected to us, and therefore he did a lot for the farm back in those days when there was this big stigma attached to the farm. And that is what I think community involvement is about. It's not the physical building, but the officer or officers engaging in communities in positive responses to the challenges that they face.
I just want to continue on where Derek left off. I just want to say that the Barbados Police Service plays an important role in the criminal justice system in Barbados, and I want to applaud them for that. We know some of the conditions that the Barbados Police Service has to work in. Up to today, I went to a police station. I will not name the police station, but I went to a police station and there were no AC in that station. The police had the door open and the police were in some terrible conditions at that station today. However, I'm sure that the AC was working in Webster Industrial. I am sure that the AC was up there working. So we need to embrace the police. We need to, I am of the view that the stations, listen to your question, I am of the view that the stations in the community is important. However, we need to build that relationship. And I am of the view that community policing is important. You will build a relationship with the members of that community. And once you're building a relationship with the members of that community, then they will get vital information that will be very useful in fighting crime. That is a my view.
But we had this police boys club, police girls clubs.
Yes.
Those things were popular.
Yes.
You know, and that was the relationship between the police and the community.
Yes.
And they still got the facility on Beer Street. I don't know the extent to which it was active. But I remember Keith Simmons, former minister, used to come to Black Rock with the police and engage us.
Yes.
And then we would go down and play with the boys in Old Town, the table tennis tournament that the police organized.
Yes.
You understand? So those are the things I'm talking about. And police is just coming to deal with crime issues. It's building relationships with young people and community people.
I agree. I remember police had a strong cricket team back in the days.
Volleyball, hockey, football.
Yes, yes. The police sports club was a big club, very big club. When I come to the community, you know that was a well-respected club that come into the community as well. Yes.
It's true. It's very true.
And we're going to touch on the innovative approaches. Can you share an example of a modern approach to community development that has shown promise in fostering growth and resilience?
What we can say is that I remember back in the early 2000, we had some problems in Deacon. I remember the football club, the volleyball club, the hockey club, basketball club, the netball club, all coming together and say, look, this is not a problem for St. Lucie. This we having a problem. Let's sit down as members of this community and work out how we resolve these matters.
Yes.
And that's when there was the call for community police, and we worked through our problems. I remember that year, the volleyball club, which was at that time the strong of the clubs, met with the football club. The football club was having some problems. We get in the uniforms together. We organized a big fair on the hard court and build a relationship, raise money, and help the football club with the outfits, help the hockey. So it wasn't a football club dealing with their own outfits. It was the community saying that our football team needs outfits. Let us get together. So I said, I can't call them any more than one call. I'm not active in my community as I was then, but I can tell you what things I know that happened back there that were innovated in that time. Getting the club to paint the community center.
Yes.
You know, and people. I heard the officer from the ministry saying that they're advertising for community managers and center managers. They want to make a statement. Nothing is happening. If you're going to come and advertise for people to come and manage the center, you're telling me that right now nothing is happening at the center. And that is a chapter they will have to do. Get things happening, you don't have to advertise. If you got 4 clubs or 4 groups meeting, they're going to become the managers of the centers.
And I'm of the view that it was still work. You said that it worked back then. I'm of the view it was still work now. I think that we need to reintroduce some of these things. Maybe we can reintroduce, for example, maybe inter-community games. That's another. I think that would be very important to build the community back together. I think that would play a pivotal role in society. We need to do that. We need to build the community. So we need to come up with some creative ideas. And I'm sure that we, the Democratic Labour Party, have these ideas to share with the public.
I think community garden is another one,
Yes.
right? That would also help
Greening,
the community
greening,
and planting. It would also be able to produce some of the produce for the community itself. And that's one thing.
It wasn't long ago we had the inter-center games. into community center games. Dominoes, volleyball, football, cricket, and then you pick the best of them and take them to St. Vincent and St. Lucia and saying that used to be an annual exercise. They don't want to call people's name. But our guy from St. Philip North, the tall guy that from St. Philip Chairman, he running the karaoke on the Santa Man, you know what I mean? Seven Brennan. They're going to work with that program and taking boys to St. Vincent, the whole team. Go down to St. Vincent and St. Lucia once they finish the local competition. I remember the great Mr. Harper. We had inter-center games, and we did the preliminaries on trains. And the first time that I didn't run a stadium in not at school, I didn't get the opportunity at school. But when my community gone to the stadium, I know in the 800, I nearly come last. But once they finished, they got 1 point. That was the part of the day. They finished. And we had communities all over Barbados participating in the community center games. Now, those things are things. We can't. First thing, we're not providing our young people with those kind of opportunities that we can talk about now. But we are not leaving them with the opportunity to say, when I was a boy, this happened. I played football against so and so. I played cricket against. Well, you can say I was on TV, playing a TV game with a guy. That is going to be their legacy. When they get 50 or 40, we're going to get things happening at the centers.
So you have like collaborative partnerships.
Yes.
Where all different agencies come together and do something substantial in the communities. Are you seeing that currently in communities? People coming together to empower?
Very little. I can speak for my community in terms of our community center in Parkland. Well, we do have a community. We don't have a playing field anymore because government dug up the playing field, remolded it, dug it back up again, and it's still there currently. We have a fence, but we have no playing field. So there's no activities. There's no football. There's no scrimmaging on the evening. There's no cricket. There's no track because St. Bartholomew's primary school also uses the field to train for inter-school sports and sports in general. So the community center itself is not being used to its full capacity for sure. Thank God for the volleyballers, and they come from foundation school actually. So thank God for them. They come up and they will play, and the basketballers also come out on a Sunday. But in terms of the youth in the community center, there's no balls, there's no games. I keep a volleyball, I keep a football. So that when whoever do come, because I have young children still, and my neighbor has young children, so they will come out and they will play. But like once upon a time, you on a Sunday, you look outside and you see about 20 or 30 little boys out there running about scrimmaging. Thing of the past.
Yeah.
That's it.
Even the play parks. I drove through a community recently. There are 2 play parks in that community, and both of them are empty. Nobody utilizes.
If you got guns, people get it. But the other thing that we as a political party that we cannot step away from, constituency councils.
Yes.
I think the Democratic Party really took a back step and they shouldn't be stepping forward with those programs. They were not given the kind of support that they believe that they should have been given. But it was an effort really to bring the activity at community level away from the center and to bring it into the communities. I don't think enough resources were handed. The structures remain too loose, with no proper coordination with the actual clubs in the community, the existing groups. I mean, we got. Let me give a simple example of things I think. We got hardcore softball. Let me take Deacon that way. Once a month or every 3 months, you can tell all the people in the community, you got the place fixed up already. Bring up all your things, your books, your old shirts. Bring them out.
Like a grand bazaar.
Bring them out. $5 for the place. rather than go into the DLP
Yeah.
and pay $25 or
Yeah.
and UPW and pay $100 or at the police complex. Use the communities. Let's say you got old stove in that you want to get rid of somebody that the stove maker can maybe can buy and repair, bring it out. You get $10 for it, whatever.
One of the problems that some people may find with that, because they find when you have to do anything with the community centers, you have to write, get permission, then you have to get a certain amount of liability insurance, and then you have to go to cost gap if you want to play any music, and then you gotta get, by the time you start, you in a debt before you even get anywhere, especially if it's something that you're not trying to make money from off of. So then the community center becomes still out of reach for those type of persons.
But that's the community development
It's a
program.
community, yeah.
The community development should be the person driving those programs to get the people on into the community active. So rather than the volleyball club doing, or that the community development activity every quarter, we'll be doing a bazaar.
Yes.
Or something at Grisette's or at Gall Hill, and come out, bring out your wares. We sponsoring it. The community development putting it on. So and bring out the football club, get installed. Netball club, get installed. The people that doing hairdressing, get installed. And you go try things. You ain't got 100% everything. But you can start with 20, 30, 40, and it's going to pick up. You got it. And there's the guy drop the hands and doing nothing.
Yes. But we know that, right? Instead of throwing the hands and doing nothing, they can review because we know that this government has systematically undermined the efforts of community development in Barbados. And that's by the closure of the department in 1984.
Got it right.
Only reopened with the led Barrow government in 1986, and then in 2018, with the summer camps, with the
Shut them down.
gone again. So we can see that this government is systematically undermining the efforts of community development. Yes.
You know, you don't want to keep driving the nail in the coffin, but it's a fact. You can't reverse facts.
Yes.
I mean, it's true that one of them a new the small invisible particle with electron or then some smaller parts. But still, you can't deny the fact that the government has always wanted things to focus on the center and on the political elite, rather on the community. So any efforts to build community is always seen a threat to their outreach, where they want to control all the activities.
And that's why we see a lack of grassroots clubs and a lack of these, initiatives, surreptitious clubs, and lack of donations being made to these things. It is unfortunate. So we definitely have to whip that back into shape. And we will. We have some.
And we gotta be honest. It's affecting cricket in the communities.
Oh, for sure.
It's affecting football in the communities. It's affecting domino competition. It's affecting church in the communities. Or you know what I mean? And I'm a St. Leonard's boy. I've not been to church a lot for the year. I mean, gotta be honest. But I'm a St. Leonard's boy. Goes to St. Leonard's. And my person, I know she's going to be on my kids tomorrow. Baby, come on Sunday. But the point is that I went to church in my community. Yeah, and I think that we need to connect the churches. Without, I heard it. Funny thing, I heard the Prime Minister on the radio making a comment that she wants the people to go to church, trying to get through Sunday school. Well, I tell the Prime Minister, and somebody can tell her, if she really has that in her mind, cancel the people name? Vice Carter. And she really wants that to happen. Cancel that show or ban that show and tell the people to church. Right, guide the church up at the botanical garden down there. And she really means that. If she really means that, that's my position on it. Don't come and play horror. If you really mean that, tell the people we have given you permission, we are sorry. We're having some community problems. We're having some violent problems. We want everybody to go to church, so the show is canceled. If she really means that.
She can be at VIP at Alleyne show too.
But she don't come and say she want people to go to church. Cancel the show.
Easter weekend.
Yeah. One more Holy Week.
I don't even know who thought of that.
Respect for Jesus.
Like, I don't know.
You can remember when I want to forget the Good Friday there in Deacons.
Yes. Yes.
But you want to forget the good Friday day and Friday when the telephone
Yeah,
call was
telephone
made,
call,
when the police was trying to do it Judy, but I ain't gonna forget. Oh, you can't forget, you can do it. Yeah.
Right, let's touch on some community engagement. How important is community engagement in the development process? And what strategies do you recommend for ensuring that community members are actively involved?
Yes, we need a collaboration between all of the state agencies. We do need it. State agencies, all the stakeholders, the NGOs. We need a collaboration. We need to engage the people. We need to engage the people to understand their concerns. And not only that, we need to create a positive social change. And the only way to do that is if we engage and empower the members of the community.
I agree. I also think with the use of sport, I like to see engaging the community through sport. I was affiliated with Practitioner Football Club for many years. 2023, I stopped. Yes, I had other business to attend to, being a newly minted attorney at law. But engaging the community through sport was something that I can say always reaped benefits, because not only are the players have a space that they can come see their friends, exercise, kicks, their friends and family. People come to watch them. The community feels proud about having a team that's doing well. They come out, they support. The team itself may have picnics. It may have fish fries. It may have karaoke Saturday session lines, different things. During COVID, it was a little difficult to get to see each other and stuff.
Yeah.
But through internet, we were able to communicate. But we want to be able to get out there and let the people come out. Gone are the days. Well, I don't want to say gone are the days, but I remember. I remember going football. People at football, bringing the children, people selling drinks, man selling fruits. Guy from the pine used to be everywhere at football, up and down. Grapes, nuts. Yes, you understand? But you don't see him no more because there's no football. The vibe and the nostalgia and the camaraderie, the atmosphere. One time they used to have, like when the sports and stuff, you see the men and the fathers waiting to run the fathers race. You're right, because it's bragging rights. Dr. Dennis Lowe also used to have a yearly soccerama. We used to look forward to that because licks is licks on the field. Gone are those days. Going down Silver Sands, another community
Activity.
You sell drinks. If you ain't got a team, you get a bar. And that's a community thing. I used to have a bar down there.
I always remember one year we had to be progressive. We loved volleyball. And we win 3 love. Then win is second all we lost. I never see so much green at the stadium yet.
It's hot.
Everybody in farm, Deacon's court, turned in green.
Yes.
And the first game, we beat them 25-20. And the next game, we get beat so bad because the green turned on. The green, and always say, Deacons, you're not supposed to lose.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying no. That is where our communities have changed. You that said about foundation practicing, but they're leading us by Deacons by 2 points. And we have to play them. That is the unfortunate thing, is that we have to play them. So we will eventually.
Parshall don't have a volleyball team right now, so we repping foundation. I rep it.
My problem that the foundation boy too. I Deacons first. Deacons come first. But when we saying this though, that we are. I'm saying we look, and we really have to stop. I'm saying that we have to stop as a country and re-examine what is happening in our communities. I was having a discussion with the president of the Barbados Cricket League only today, and we were talking about the demise of the Barbados Cricket League. He was making the point that BCA teams are also declining. St. Catherine is no longer the St. Catherine. No. YMPC is no longer the YMPC. Spartan disappearing.
Yes.
Empire disappearing. The team Bristol and St. Peter disappearing.
Yes.
And we just cruising going on. We have to stop as a nation. Examine what factors are pulling our communities apart. Yes, there's crime, but it was happening before the crime got so badly.
Yes.
So bad. So we need to stop. What is it that has gone wrong? What it is that we can do to correct this direction?
But you will find cost of living could be possibly an issue when it comes to this sporting issue. You will find guys preferring to go to work to get money than to take Saturday off to play cricket.
Let me give you the back what Mr. Yara was telling me today. That in my day, I had to pay umpire fees, contribute to ball fees, contribute to the snacks. No, the BCA does all that. So you don't got to pay no more ball fees. You don't got to pay no more umpire fees. As a matter of fact, the clothes that the people wearing BCA now, the BCA give them.
Yes.
So what we are doing is giving people things, so there's no commitment to anything. So if fellas didn't care to play, a fella ain't going out there and say, I got a cake, set a cake sale. I do a sponsor walk. I have raised $200 over the last couple of months for the club. But there's no connection to the club, to the community, anything. You get 11 or 14 people together, the BCA gives you a ball or two balls, they give you the outfit to put on, they pay for the umpires, they pay for the lunch, they pay for everything. So you go and just turn up. So there is no community in it, there's no club in it, there's no connection, there's no ownership. So we're gonna stop, internalize what we're doing. And I pick on cricket because we used to be the greatest cricket nation in the entire globe. I'm talking about the West, they talking about Barbados. The greatest, we used to beat England, beat them. They talking about this, used to beat them. First match to come there, we used to beat them and beat them badly. So we can't even get Monster Rugby.
But I find one of the major issues, you will have activities going on in the community and absolutely no one will know that they're going on. So how can we use the social media, the email, newsletters to get the information out to the public, to get them to come to these activities?
Well, I mean, social media is always important. Well, right now, we are in that era. And that's generally how that demographic of youth gets their information through social media, whether it be TikTok, IG, Twitter. Those are the three main ones. The older generation or the more mature persons would use Facebook and stuff like that. They still need information as well too. But getting out in the community, because if the community is a part of that event, then you have more persons to share, more persons to do word of mouth, more persons to put it on their IG and let somebody else share it and let somebody else share it and let it go around in a circle until people know what's happening. But sometimes people may have the information and they know they're just not interested.
But for me personally, I have no idea of anything that's going on in St. John. I don't know. Because I don't know.
Well, see that
now, where the community councils would come into hand.
Making point earlier, the connection becomes and I think just to discard of that program, we look replacing it because the Constituency Council they just turn up. I remember the former representative of St. Michael Northwest, the master, was very big on these Constituency Council because we were looking at the form of local government because there was beginning to have a divide between what is happening at national level and what was happening in communities. And there we looked through all kind of programs and we came up with this thing called Constituency Council. But we drop it and therefore did not find something to replace it because there was a general recognition of the widening gap between planning activities and executing them, right? The BCL was declining, softball, cricket disappeared, community netball disappeared, basketball between Pinelands and so on the group began to get smaller, and the constituency councils became a vehicle to correct that. No, it had its weaknesses, but rather than look to see how we can strengthen it, we just dismantle it and left the communities to falter. I think we need to find that bridge. We need to get that bridge between the communities and the national associations. And I think the BCL and the BCL will be grateful if we can help them to build that structure. And I got some personal views about the role of the BCL versus the BCA.
Yeah.
You know, and there would need to be a connection between the two of them.
Collaborative effort.
Yeah, there's got to be. You can't have the two of them not connecting. You know, the BCA, no, they have this problem at the club, associated big clubs, and the BCA struggle in the communities. So they got to find a way. They got to find a way to work together to make sure cricket does not die.
Yes.
But back in your day, Derek,
But that's about 70 years ago.
social media was not
No.
prevalent. So how did you know about the activities in your community?
No, there wasn't social media, but we were the social media.
Yeah.
We were the social media, right? We didn't have the gadgets, but we were so, you know, you went to church. You were in church choir. You CLB, you the choir, server. All that is the Anglican Young People Association used to got competition in cricket and football across the whole Anglican community. So we would look for AYPA games. There was a Barbados Youth Council with 120 something youth groups assigned to it, attached with a competition, right? There were competition with the Friendly Football Association on Sundays, where it was the Friendly League, where communities, we would get up at Saturday morning, wake up 7 or 8 boys and walk down to Gilding and chat with them in a cricket match. And play just like that. And not organize nothing. Okay, we got represent really a community. So you are connected. Now we don't have that, and we are doing nothing. We can't get back there.
Yes.
But we need to find a connecting rod that brings individuals within the community together for the benefit, not only for the physical thing called community, but for the people in it.
Yes.
The young people, the elderly. We got your old people living by themselves that nobody don't see them, don't speak to them. The parents and the children scanning, that's my hospital. I don't go back for them. And I mean, and those things are because there's a loss of community. And as long as you lose community, you begin to lose who you are.
Yeah.
You lose your identity. You connect to nothing.
Even with the community independence secretariat,
Yes.
I found over the last couple of years, they've been having a little difficulty getting persons to volunteer.
You mix it between independence and republic. That's the confusion. That's the problem.
That is correct.
You
No,
mix it.
that is correct. That is correct.
Still within the Constitution.
You confuse.
Yeah,
People confused. They know the independent country is the republic.
Right.
So you want to do independence thing, but you still got this image of this republic, and nobody knows what the republic is about. So people are still waiting to connect to the republic, and they're losing the sense of being an independent country and what it meant.
Yes.
The blue and yellow, but even the parades and things now getting lackluster.
Yeah.
When I so bung up in the morning to get my TV on or get up with the car by Bridgestone to see the thing pass up, you don't see that. You see more tourists.
Yes.
More tourists in town watching the parade. And then we can't the parade now. Keep my book shut.
You mentioned the statement who we are, and part of who we are is knowing what our culture is. We have through songs, poetry, dancing, etc. We used to have groups like Laugh It Off, Beijing Bus Stop, but we don't see these things like before. So how do we get these activities back in communities and back in life.
No, I have and I really want to keep this here, the second part, because we got plan, a manifesto, we got to come with several activities. But I think that we need to go to the schools.
Oh, for sure.
We need to connect our schools with the communities that they're in, especially primary schools. Secondary schools are more national, but the primary schools are I think, the last bedrock that we can work on. And I think we gotta get people at my age and people that are younger volunteering to help our schools, building a relationship with the schools, helping out with the girl guides, a Boy Scout, a Big Brother program. We even cricket at schools. We need to get volunteers to go into the schools and help organize cricket, football. And I remember my guy from North here, he passed away a few years ago. We were trying to get a cricket thing. He discussed it. Tell me all.
Yes.
We don't play a match. We have a day of cricket.
Okay.
Where we throw the ball, we catch the ball, we hit the ball, people gather, you run around, pick it, and throw it.
Like
A
practice,
day
okay.
without actually a match, a day of cricket. I was discussing that last year. People, people. So I mean, we our community, people who got interest, got get into the schools and say, look, let's study the primary schools. I remember when those things for the teams used to win the primary school cricket competition. Blending. They used to come down in droves. What? The same for the teams?
Yes, but on during the recent concluded Herman Griffith competition, we had teams in St. Philip, that wanted to play, but unfortunately couldn't harness and get full team together because of the numbers in the schools. So what I'm saying is that the community centers will really help. This will connect growth of sports, and not only sports, but arts and craft and culture, these young people. So we need that. We need to connect the young people into community centers. I think it would play an important role. We could actually do some summer camps so that those young boys that get opportunity to play during that competition will get the opportunity now. Get the opportunity now. I just said to catch the ball. We have some wonderful coaches
develop
up there.
and hone the skills.
Yes.
You know that we have a West Indies women's cricket team.
Yes.
And we don't have a West Indies women cricket league. We don't have in Barbados, we don't have women playing against women on a regular basis.
Well, they're not
Want
but there is a female regional competition.
Competition, they talk
Yeah.
about league. They do run a tournament every now and then. But go ahead.
Yeah, but there's a league within each nation.
Oh,
There's one in Barbados. They have, I think, about 4 teams now.
4 days.
Yeah, the one in Trinidad is much bigger.
Yeah.
And there's one in Jamaica as well. But there is activity.
So they actually play games against one another?
Yeah.
What about the cricket madman and I know that?
We also have a team that's participating in St. Vision competition. I think it's
female
Iris
team.
Walker's female team.
Yeah.
Iris Walker that's participating in the St. Vision competition.
I'm saying all that to say that why we don't have primary school for cricket for girls.
Yes.
They don't have to have every team, every school with a team. You can combine 3 primary schools, get 12 or 30 girls, and call in the North versus the South, the Central versus somebody.
Yes.
Get them playing. Get them playing. I can do it for the boys too, because we find that the numbers of the boys also dropping.
Yes.
Even football and things. You ain't gonna go every school ain't gonna go a team, but we can put 2 or 3 together and have them represent the zone.
Amoy and Simon, you're the younger folk
Yes.
on the panel.
Yes.
Would you say that you fully understand what Barbados culture is all about? What our culture is?
Go ahead.
Ladies first.
But as a Bajan, I would like to think so. You understand? But if you want to say that we are weaning away from our culture, weaning away from things that we have known to be permanent within our society, I'm just not seeing it. But today we were having a discussion, this might be on the lower end of the culture discussion, but once upon a time, you would walk through town and nobody would pass you, go in the store, it's good evening. afternoon, morning. No, we get it like North America. A lot of times, people don't even ask you.
Mhm.
One thing you will hear, Barbadians are the most friendliest people, peaceful. I don't know if we're still up there. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
and it just feels as though we just going along and we're not being our brother's keeper anymore. We don't give two rats behind what our brother is doing, and we not keeping him. We got our own stuff going on.
It is true. Have you ever been to a Trevor Eastman show?
Of course, but I don't think
But
people are
they don't
being-
know
they
Travis
don't
Eastman.
even know who Travis Eastman is.
And it's really amazing. I was a community development in the Congress Committee staff. That was a community development initiative, getting the country Calypsonians and clubs and committees that and you used to meet at Bailey's Primary School and St. Catherine School. Them first had shows that the Untouchables had. It wasn't even at Princess Margaret, but at smaller schools.
And you
And community
mentioned
development was involved.
And it's Boosh.
not
Crosshairs.
you also mentioned like laugh it off
Yeah.
and stuff like that. When I was in secondary school, back in primary school, laugh it off. They used to come to these schools and they used to ask for persons who were interested in drama and who were interested in theater and whether or not they wanted to be a part of the actual show. My friend and I did one session. I mean, we were just extras, but it was so cool to think that we could have been part of something, that production. I don't think they didn't do that no more.
Community development used to run a competition
Yeah,
for
a
community.
comedy competition.
Yeah, and also I think I always remember Harold Coddington. He was the deputy governor at Central Bank. He wrote a play for us at Dickens. A fellow Silver Cadogan, a lawyer. He was a lead actor in it called The Mask, and we had it become third. Dickens came third. I will never forget it. I had been 17, 16, and we came third. And we went to St. Ursula's and beat them for the finals. I can't remember who beat us by point making. That they should happen at the community level.
Yes.
When we were the community development should do mines and we should do
Skits,
yes.
That's
Those
like
are
Congo.
regular things. We should do
Very
those.
good. The pantomime.
And the guy that passed me the earlier last year, Ron, he tried to do dance and drumming.
I know.
Yeah.
Taiwan.
Taiwan, and they had a guy named Gavin Ward and another guy named David, and all the community development officers. We used to come to the communities and engage young people and do those kind of things. I mean, I keep saying we're not getting bad here, but we can do them in the schools. Do them in the primary schools. Now we get in the primary school.
Okay, dance groups. When I used to dance National Afrique.
Right.
Yeah. And then the I mean all of these types of initiatives.
You all know that Raptor was a manager of dance in Africa. Dance in Africa.
Really?
I guess he was a big manager of that group. You know, you never could have danced.
Melissa, when I think about the Barbados culture, two things come to mind. People, food,
Yeah.
dress.
and when you enter a lot of the community now, I can remember growing up in DFU, DFU boy, going to the beach all the time. We would go down there, we would roast fish, we would
Fat
play
pork.
cricket in the road, eat
True.
fat pork,
Yeah.
see grapes. This is the culture. That's who we are. And most importantly, we knew who our neighbor was.
Yeah.
We live in neighborhoods now that we don't even know what
Absolutely.
neighborhood is. And it's very scary. And all these social issues are in the neighborhood. So once we know who our neighbor are, we have all of these social issues addressed right there. We need to build the communities together again. We need to. And the only way to do that is to build the collaboration among all the agencies. We need to. But Barbados culture, we need to go back there. They work thing and they will work now.
Yeah, because gone are the days when we were brothers keeper. That was a death in Christ Church. Person died in an apartment. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have no family, you don't have no friends. Your neighbor didn't see you come outside to wash the car yesterday, or he didn't see you feed the dog and it ain't tell himself, but I ain't see Trevor today. Half the time you don't even know your neighbor. And it's unfortunate that this is exactly where we are right now, you know? But under the Democratic Labour Party, I envision that things will improve. We have young blood, we have some intelligent young people with some great, fantastic ideas, and we're not afraid to put them forward.
Like yourself.
And yourself, comrade, right? Not afraid to speak. We're not afraid to get out there and get our hands dirty and do the work. You know what is required, because you know we're not going to get this done by sitting down behind a table. We got to get out there, engage with the people, engage with the youth, engage with the fellas on the block, engage with the girls, engage with the older generation as well, who, like Derek just mentioned, is being unfortunately left behind. And it's sad when he mentioned about persons taking their elderly to the hospital and QH and leaving them there. Really? But yes, really, that's where we're at. You know?
Let's
So we
move on.
have to.
Go ahead.
No, so go ahead.
Let's move on to measuring success. All right, what metrics or indicators do you think are essential for measuring the success of community development projects?
We got shit great.
Yeah.
More engagement, more participation, across communicative fertilization across communities. I probably made on the last time we were on this program that we had a great relationship, Orange Hill. We used to do exchanges with them when we spend a weekend, they spend a weekend. But you can measure community development when you see projects happening.
Yeah.
And I think I made the issue that Deacons Volleyball Club put the disbursements at Deacons. The government, they put them up. We raised the money and put up the legs. We put up the first legs for Volleyball Club. We put them up, not the government. It's community success. And I'm saying that our communities now move away from that. People ain't getting involved. If you get in cricket close to play, paying for the umpire fees, paying for the balls, you're not encouraging individual activities and group activities.
No involvement, no engagement.
You're not getting them, to empower themselves. You're feeding them with even these most simple things. So in their brains, well, you give us, man.
What I can say is that we cannot measure success when you put in benches in the wrong basket or painted benches right. We cannot measure
For sure.
success like that. We will measure the success when we start to see people back in the community.
Yeah.
Back in the community centers on the evening, rather than going home and watching TV, people engaging with one another. We need to see that. Like that's what we measure the success.
How do you get people back to the centers? Make the centers modern.
Yes.
Make them attractive.
Yes.
I mean, in 2025, I think community centers all should have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's standard procedure,
Yeah.
right? Wi-Fi. They should have some sort of ability chairs, whether it be chess, whether it be cricket, whether it be dominoes, something, board games, access to books, because not every child is going to come from a home that has those things. Not every child is going to be able to come from a home that has a computer. They know how to turn it on, know how to use the computer too, right? So having that access at the community level, at the community center is great. And then from there now, then we can start to highlight excellence.
Yes.
As opposed to highlighting every time you see somebody get stabbed or somebody get shot or somebody go to jail. Highlight the black excellence. Highlight the good things the youth are doing.
Out of every crisis situation coming, a new board invention. We had COVID, and they had families who had no access to internet, Wi-Fi and so on. And that's where we should have made all our community centers homes away from homes. Bring in technical people, get the community centers, but then the families know that we're gonna have extra people there to help them. put them the kids at the community centers rather than going to somebody's gallery and unsupervised. You know, you watching the COVID, but you organize them before y'all in the Senate, separate them, but you provide the internet for them. But what we did, no, and then let me get honest. The whole library was never made as a center on COVID for children. You had the upstairs part of the children's library. You enhance the Wi-Fi accessibility. We rather know you really close the library. Shut it down. But rather than make those things community assets, you know, they got the police in the post office and they let me know. But they choke up for the police. You know, I don't know how temporary it is. But they move up, we go on there. Back on the main rush, move down from there and go on over there. I don't know what's happening that building. But my position is that we have to get technology that is not only Wi-Fi, but games that the kids
Make the community centers attractive.
Right, that the kids want come there.
Paint them in some colorful colors.
Yes, man, you want kids might get the community center got in. So I don't know which the games are, but the kids know it. Put them in the community center and got competitions between Dickens community center where they do for the game. I don't know, but compete on those things too. Got competition between the schools on wherever the game the children are playing online. Make it competitive against schools.
Yeah.
We used to got competition in spelling bee, quizzes, panel discussions, debates. But make the whatever technology or whatever games they're playing, activities they're doing online, a competitive thing between schools and communities. Engage them. Let them see collective work. That's critical. Everybody individual, everybody's by themselves. We have to change that. We have to change that. I feel passionate about that.
There's just one point. I heard you mention just now that the police station is in the library where the law post office.
Yes.
I just want people to know that the police have to work in conditions where is work being done while they're stationed there. That's not fair to them. We ask that something be done about that. We can't have police working in conditions where
Rather than fix the place and then bring them, they got them in there and fixing it.
yes, that's not fair to them.
It's lack of planning, lack of foresight, lack of coordination,
Yes,
lack of sense.
yes.
Right, Amoy, the spotlight is on you now. Let's have the agriculture perspective. As a spokesperson for agriculture, how can sustainable agriculture practices contribute to community development?
Well, we have to start in the schools, as said. At least I think that is main place where we need to start, primary school. I said this already, and it's worth saying again. I think it was St. John's that had an agricultural program. They have rabbits, chickens. They have a little ground where they grow produce, and I think that's important. Teach children how to grow, teach them how to be self-sufficient, teach them how to be sustainable from a young age. Get their hands in the mud from early. And I heard, God, children look at them in mud, but get them in the garden early. Show them, let them feel that joy or feel that sense of accomplishment when they grow from garden to plate. You know, when they understand that, there's carrots that I grew, there's cabbage that I grew, mommy cooking beets that I grew. So also, it develops character. You have chickens, it develops a moral sensibility. They understand how to treat animals. They understand how to care for animals. They understand or they have a sense of empathy when they know that they have to ensure that they are well fed, well cared for. They don't hurt them, responsibility. It develops the children. And I think if you plant that seed from now, when they then go into secondary school, which we should also have a program in secondary schools too, having instilled it in them in primary school, It will be easier when they get in secondary school and as they become young adults. And hopefully when they get into adulthood, full adulthood, they can then recycle that information for their children or their grandchildren.
Okay, so how can we use the water recycling process in our community?
Well, water recycling process. With respect to agriculture or
As a sustainable agriculture practice,
water
recycling.
recycling? Well, right now, I don't see us doing much water recycling in terms of our ability to catch runoff water and use that. Once upon a time, I think it was they had a program going on. They were talking about people getting water tanks. I think it was urban. Every time you build a house or whatever, you need a water tank, right? Everybody can't afford a water tank. They're expensive. So in that regard, maybe rooftops. That's another thing that people are also doing now for catchment of water to recycle. But it's difficult. It really is difficult for persons who don't have the means to be able to buy a tank so that they can have that water to recycle. Government says that it's using or it plans to build desalination tanks. I think we only have one that is in operation so far. Sometimes that is offline. So I don't know, we haven't had any injection of any new ideas with respect to any water harvesting technologies that they may bring in. I know we just hear talk. We really don't see no action happening. I think a pumping station would be useful at Oistins in that area, because that area sees a lot of water when we have rain falling. Because that just goes back up to the sea. And in terms of the agriculture, I know some farmers are opposed to using treated water for agriculture for obvious reasons, because it's treated water and then you give it to the plants and you're using it for consumption. But that is also something that can be looked at in the long run. And another issue or another sustainability with respect to the water scarcity. I think maybe our private sector needs to step up to give their game. When we get to the point where we have treated water, our catchment of our water and treated water, maybe they could start using it in the hotels itself.
Okay. So how can we use the crop rotation process in this?
Before we go there, let me ask that point. I read today on the meeting, Boeing sent me feed from our London correspondent. Yeah, Grenada, take up his sargassum, make it walk it down to it. Grenada. They started doing community projects, all in the sargassum. When it climb up, they bought some equipment, so bulkhead, put them in the centers, make them manure over there.
People, all kind of things.
Grenada,
Yeah.
Grenada. And we had sargassum, it began to produce some gases that were noxious.
And they went spend how much they spend to get the
And
factor.
the machine.
That's
Yeah.
the St. Johnson,
It's not there anymore. It was moved.
It was moved?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And when I read that, I said, wow, the Barbados,
Yeah.
this crowd that we got.
Yeah.
You got use our universities. We got Ministry of Agriculture. We must be able to get something to do with sarcasm. I mean, I am not technical that way. Everything that can do, I don't understand.
Why we can't get
I don't understand. I see it book ever since. It's not last year thing or year before this is going on for the while. I mean, we ain't creative enough to even check and get rid, send it to Grenada today. I don't know. I know what the costs are.
But we definitely have to do more planting with respect to agriculture. And if you want to put agriculture and sustainability in the same sentence, You got to grow. Like, we need to grow our stuff. Yeah, it produce our parish. Back to that again. If we don't produce, we will perish.
So how can we use the crop rotation to develop community development in Barbados? Crop rotation.
Well, I don't know much in terms of crop rotation. Well,
That is alternating between various crops.
yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, it's self-explanatory.
We can tell-
Rotate the crops.
We can tell what the community is, remember. More crop. Deacons don't talk like say people cut cans. So we decided we can go on, fundraising. The clubs of my let me go on. We young strong boys, they be cut some cans. Have a little band, beat the band, and that go to weekend. We got long shirts, pants, hats. Yeah, boy, Collins, things ready. We got Miss Jeffers and we ordered corned beef and biscuits, some salt, fish. The old man used to carry them in the morning, and we met bakes, and we going to cut cans. By the end of the week, we can pay Miss Jeffers about 50, and we going to cut cans. We can't cut enough money to pay for the food. Yeah, we trust the first morning. And I'm saying, I'm certain that I had groups in St. Philip, St. George, who would have gone in and did some community work, cutting cans. But coming from Black Rock, we were able, we were able to make it. But I remember that year we went pick cotton. We went pick cotton. I see those are the things that the community, we had the club did. And I'm saying, you don't see those things. Mr. Jackson, we want Mr. Jackson 3 weeks.
But so, I don't know, back to your question. Different things that you could do with respect to sustainability in agriculture. I don't know, get people involved. We use recycle. Barbados is probably the only place that got these green bins that we could use to do so much other stuff with recycling and things. But we just have the bins. That's a start. In terms of agriculture, composting, that's another way to go. That can bring up some interesting results. And maybe a few things, but I don't want to give you everything, holding certain things close, because we have people listening to us and doing everything we say, which is nice, but
Right. So let's move on to the youth involvement in agriculture. What role do you see for young people in agriculture and community development?
Oh, there's definitely a role for young people. Like back to what I was saying, we need to get into primary schools. We need to get into primary schools and start it from young. I believe every primary school should have a mandatory agricultural program. Agriculture should be a part of the syllabus from infants from infants A, B, right up. And the youth is the future. So, just like any sport you have a senior team. You don't have a junior team. You could imagine that team will come to an end at some point in time. You need to have the youth interested in agriculture. The only way to do it is to do it from young and come. And then make sure you have it in the secondary schools. And when you do it in the secondary schools, you could do it on a little bigger scale than the primary schools. And then you do it strategic. You do it with purpose so that the produce that is used, it can also be reused to help with school meals. You can also have competitions between schools. Who growing the biggest melons? Who growing the biggest pumpkins? Inter-school competition, agriculture competition. And then now when you get out the school and you're at national level, what about agritourism? I know tourists would pay to go down to the cane field and see what we got down there. Tourists would pay money to go and pick okras. The tourists might even pay the cotton for us. You never know.
Tasty Cajun cherry
Tasty.
that we no longer do
But-
produce.
So there are ideas. But we got agritourism in other places. You know, that's one thing that I have underneath my arm that I can keep. Even though we heard the minister talk about freight farming and stuff. Yes, that's new technology, but is it feasible? Is it practical for our purposes? I don't know, but you don't grow cassava in freight farming. You don't grow sweet potatoes and melons and squash. You know what I mean? Do we have a market for kale and those types of? Maybe. But we need those ground provisions. We need to be able to expand the space. So instead, here we could stop building houses or agricultural land and use the agricultural land for agriculture. Yeah, we could start there. I mean, yeah, I keep saying it all the time.
You got like the game here, so.
You know, back in the 70s, we had over 44%
Yes.
in Barbados of land for agriculture use. No, it's under 22%. How are we going to be a nation that is self-sufficient? How are we going to nip this food security concern in the bud? We can't. We're not growing enough food to do it. That's why we are currently a nation of consumers, right? But I will say again, Bajans produce or perish. Need to grow. Even if I would even go as far as to say, every household $500. Start a kitchen garden. Let people from the Ministry of Agriculture come around. Let me see what you're doing. You got melons and you got things in there growing. Statement for you. All right. Then things, I'm telling you, things will improve. But we have to start growing. We have to start growing. We have a lot of land going across out there by St. David's. But I understand that belongs to a certain Indian man. Yes. And I understand he tried to build some stuff out there already. But it is not good for building because they have to dig too far down. But all that land out there, put it in for crop rotation, put it in for agricultural purposes. Everywhere, anywhere I go, and I see bush cut, something growing. Bush cut, something growing. So everywhere you go, you see that in the States, when you go in Florida and you see long lines of all of those coconut trees or palm trees, wherever you go, you drive in, you ain't gonna see no more bush. You're gonna see rosa, edos, rosa, cassava, rosa, tomatoes, peppers, onions, carrots. You're gonna see stuff growing. It's gonna be like, again, yes, we planted stuff there.
Incentive to plant.
Yes, right? And I mean, the farmers really are in a bad state. Farmers really, really, really need assistance. And it's one thing being able to give people land to grow on. Another thing, giving them seeds. A lot of people don't have the money. They don't have the financing to be able to maintain what they're doing. A lot of farmers are in debt before they even start. You know, it's a challenge. Agriculture is a labor of love, you know, it's a passion.
Yeah, it is.
It is a passion.
But we gotta get funny ways to get young people. See, we still, my age group still see agriculture as a hobby. Like family and gardening. But we got
It's a science, it's a
as
business.
a business, we got get that into our children's head. That is what they're about. It's the future, and we got to get them to understand that we did. Me, all the young people that we talk to know, I think they're always interested, but then we don't follow up. We don't run programs and we don't do exciting things or what we want them to do. When you take those kids out to AgroFest and you see the excitement when they see a bull or goat or sheep, they feel excited, but then it finishes there. When they go back to school, there's nothing to say.
Right.
This is where the bull come from.
That's where you should have an agricultural program in the schools now. Yeah, and maybe even you tell yourself, well, you know what? be raising the sheep. But this sheep is a winner. Everybody take care of the sheep. Who take turns feeding the sheep? Understand how the sheep grow. Understand what the sheep need. Simple things like that. It's so simple, but it is effective. But we need to start doing it. We need to start doing it.
The other thing I want, remember, the government promised to do processing plan. Here comes some it's called they got excess. Canning.
Oh.
Yeah, it was said all last year. Last year's budget. I don't know. I hear it again this year.
Fancy words. Just
I hear this year.
fancy words.
I know I've always wondered why we allow so much breadfruit to drop on base. So much mangoes just drop on base.
And another thing I was wondering too is how come we don't have like a central space for farmers? Yes, I know you have the markets and stuff, but a central space. So you know when you go there, you get in everything. And you have farmers from all across the island that can come here, set up their stalls and sell their produce with little interruption from the powers that be. Right? I don't know.
I always get confused where we can't get our agriculture sustainable. I go in agriculture that all kitchen gardens, everybody had kitchen garden. Everybody had a sheep or pig.
Yeah, my constituency, Christchurch East is on agricultural belt as well. And you know, a lot of the grounds and stuff out there are either empty or dry. Water is a real issue for farmers. I don't think that this government really understands that they really need to pay more attention to this water scarcity issue. And the farmers are crying, oh, still. Yeah.
So she will use tears.
Well, I don't know, but she's definitely not giving the farmers the due respect that they deserve, especially for persons who carry the backbone of the nation in terms of food. So
that's exactly where that comes in. Even like I made a comment today, we're even going down the highway. That's Spring Garden highway. And I looked to my right, I saw a mountain of boulders. Well, from somewhere in Romania or something. So
Was it purpose?
that's a fix the fisheries problems. I thought them that they know from January. God, vines going up on the nose. So I don't know what's happening out to the water. My information and right now that there are fishing boats still underwater up there by fisheries. The cities to come give us some information. The one fisherman called me, I don't want to call his name, and said that 82 boats were damaged, mashed up, done.
Completely destroyed.
Those people are without sustenance, without opportunities to go to work again. They don't know what the position with the importation of boats that was supposed to come in. And this is now going into another hurricane season coming up just now.
Yeah.
And they don't know what business are that in case we get.
And then what about the boats that said it was sent in Antigua? You haven't heard anything else about that?
So,
After we spoke about the ones for Canada.
so that's why we raise this to show you that we talking food
Yeah.
and we talking about young people then going to boating,
Yeah.
fishing, and so on, long fishing and so on. And we are at the stage now we are fishing fleet is almost depleted.
Yes.
And I hear nothing being said about what we're going to do between now and the next 3 months if we are on stream with the repairs to the breakwater.
Yeah.
If we were able to move more of the boats out of the water. Nothing is just easy. The fishermen got put away.
Yes.
But like it all up there, it's not good enough.
Definitely.
We can find attention to give other people things. I want to talk with Brexit Bank again, but we we can facilitate everybody. Hold down. St. Joseph, we organizing somebody with government headquarters, the YNPC club supposed to move, the district hospital, they're supposed to move, and we can't get the boats moving we want
Yeah.
that gotta be easier.
Yes.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. And that is critical. Fish is critical to Barbados tourism product. People come to Barbados, they prefer to eat fish rather than eat chicken. The fish is normally be fresh fish. Caught by the fishermen on a Monday, brought back in on a Monday, and sold on a Monday, straight to all things and so on. And we need to get some word on what's happening for the fishing food. Something that I am not going to let go. My grandfather was a fisherman. You know.
I agree. My father loved
My
fishermen.
father was also a fisherman.
Yeah.
We're moving on to Simon.
Yes.
We're focusing on policy development. Can you discuss any specific policies you propose to enhance community development?
Yes, I heard Derek speaking earlier about a manifesto. So I would just name a few for now. But I want to start where my learning friend finish off just now, and that is education. So that is the first one. We see education as paramount in the Democratic Labour Party, and there's a need to connect the growth of the Democratic of the sports and arts and crafts. There's a need to connect it, and we will connect that by having a collaboration with the Ministry of Education. That's the first thing. That's the first policy that we want to put in place. We see education as paramount. I will move on now to community engagement and empowerment. We will actively involve community members, organizations, stakeholders. We see that as important. We need to engage the people. We also need to empower the people to create positive, lasting social change. That is very important. The third one that I will go on to, we spoke about it earlier today, but we need to stress on it. That's upgrading community infrastructure. There's a need for that. There's a need to retrofit the community centers with a modern Barbados.
For sure.
Modern Barbados, a modern concept. So we need to upgrade these community centers. There's a need to upgrade community centers. As my learned friend said earlier, comrade, same learned friend speaking to me. But my comrade said earlier, yes, there's a need for internet. All of the community centers, there's a need. We need to get the people back in the community centers, and to do that, we need to retrofit them. We need to upgrade them. We need to put internet in there. We need to put some modern resources in those community centers.
Yeah, make them attractive.
You need to do that. Why can't we have a karaoke in a community center? Why can't?
Competition.
Exactly, karaoke competition. Domino's for sure. Ronnie Innes, may he rest in peace, continue to rest in peace. But he was the head of the Domino's Association in Barbados. And I went to a Domino's competition tonight, and I was amazed to see how much people was at this Domino's competition. We need to get communities moving again. So we need to get infrastructure in there. As my colleague here said just now, maybe we could put a pool table there. We need to get it going again. So we need to look at that infrastructure. Melissa, the third thing that I want to look at, the fourth.
But before you get to that, though,
Yes.
just bouncing off of what you said, also to we need to utilize what we have. If we have road tennis,
Mhm.
like that is something I think that we have failed to capitalize on.
Mhm.
Road tennis is also something that we can also use to ignite the community as well too. It's new. It's something that's getting it developed out there. I don't know if we can get geographic indicator on that and make it our own, but we'll be listening. But yeah, inter-community road tennis competitions and those type of things.
And I'm glad you said that, Ms. Amoy, because we have to look at revitalizing traditional events. And by doing that there, we can look at the inter-community games.
Yeah.
I think that will play a pivotal role. We can look at implementing road tennis. I think that that's very important. We need to get our spirit back together. And not only that, when we have games going, you're looking at health ways too.
Yeah.
Why can't community center have a gym?
Mhm.
Up on the chicken in the shed.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need to look at health. And health is important when it comes to the community. We need healthy communities.
So it'd be interesting to wait and see when these mini stadia. Well, I am very anxious to see when the mini stadia at Parish Land is finished. What it's going to look like,
Yes.
because I anticipate that it should have a track, that we gonna have a cricket facilities, that we gonna have the same gym,
Jim,
that the toilets gonna have seats, that we gonna have some place for the people to change, that we can actually have summer camps and different programs, robotics. We have a lot of young people that want to learn programming, but those type of things.
you really dreaming this
Garden.
government.
But he said mini stadia. So they should have equipment for football, equipment for road tennis, equipment for netball when the girls want to come out and play netball. They should have, proper changing rooms. They should have net for volleyball. So any given point in time when persons come together in the community and they should have those facilities. But right now it's not like that. So I agree with you, Simon. We really need to engage.
I you know, I love you. I praise you, but you dreaming with this government.
Yes, yeah.
You're dreaming.
No, under the Democratic Party, we will make that happen.
I agree.
We will make that happen because the Democratic Party fibs in.
Yeah.
And fibs in bad.
I have said this already. The way I know that they are not serious is that we had a mini stadium at Dickens.
Mhm.
We have a football field, not the biggest, but adequate.
Yeah.
We have a volleyball court up on the front road.
Yes.
We were building an indoor stadium, plans approved. We had a hostel that could put up 48 people.
Yes.
Okay. We also had, we were building a recording studio.
Yes.
Mhm.
We had place for carpentry, joinery. We had
And play a part.
I mean, you whatever. We had the foundation for a mini, but it's a little bigger than mini, because the actual indoor stadium would have had 600 people. 600 people. Drawing still there. And if they could just shut that down. And then 2 years later, what would have done by being a big thing? You had one that was halfway done.
And good
You
potential.
shut it down. And then what would have done by you gonna build it? You let you look full with it.
You know, I think
Not the same sense.
I believe that their government definition of a mini stadium is offense
Thanks.
and red benches.
Yeah.
Red bench.
Yeah, simple. That's it. But we
Yeah.
heard the leader of the opposition, the political leader of this party, speaking, and he's asking at least put a warm-up track for the athletes.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a full 400 track. They can put a warm-up track.
Yeah.
Wait, because sports is a science.
Yeah.
It's not all. It work on techniques. So we need to engage the people. We need to engage the community members. We don't need a 400 track, but they could put a warm-up track. A coach go there on evenings and work on techniques. So we need to look at these things. We are asking them, not just fence and red benches. That is not enough to call them.
You know how beautiful it would be that the primary school sports finish, the secondary school sports finish, and next month you got the community sports.
It's a community games. Inter-community
Oh, how lovely
games.
that would be, right? You kids
Uh-huh.
right into that,
Yes.
right into that. And then you got the nationals, then you got the national, a program, a continuous program. Right. I've been seeing the game this year. Let's give you all notice.
Okay.
How you doing, Eric?
No problem.
I probably do about 400.
Okay.
So what Derek just said, that we need to coordinate national events. That is very, very important. We need to bring it back together. To move on from that, there to also we don't only need to recognize the national events, but we need to recognize excellence.
Yes.
So we need to create national awards. We need to award community members. Yes, we need to do that. All sportsmen start in the community, doing something. Some of these sportsmen may want to make a career out of starting within the community.
Yeah.
So we're asking, we will implement a policy to create national awards.
Yes,
We get to
I
keep going
agree.
and create national
But the-
awards.
I agree.
A point that Sammy you were making earlier was the whole question of engagement of collaboration across
Yes.
the communities. You also just raised the issue of honoring sportsmen, so
Yes.
cultural men, people who dance, create stuff. We used to go NIFCA, used to be big. It started to go and then it stopped every night, right at the kid raise a fall. And we need to sustain NIFCA. We needed to build another activity that follows NIFCA.
Mhm.
Right? NIFCA is in November, we got something at Easter, right? And then when the schools come in, just before the schools come on holiday, we do something, the schools creative sessions.
Yes.
Where the schools come up and do something. And so we got have sustainable activities that keep the artists and the sports people busy
Yes.
and involved.
Yes.
Because when they are involved, you have the community practitioners, the organizers, the coaches, the fundraisers. We got,
Family and friends.
so we've got these in the school sports done, and then for the next 7 or 8 months, we turn off.
Yes.
We
Yes.
turn
Yes.
off. We have to get programs sustainable and that people move from one smoothly into the next. And that is what we lacking, that coordination.
But we're not only looking at sports directly, we're also looking at, for example, we need to look at art, craft, skill workshops, which is very important. Maybe food festivals. You know that the Rama race, I think that's what it means. Food Rama race, that's a very successful event in Barbados. So we're not bringing it into our communities. We need to bring it to our communities. We need to look at the food festival. I think that is important. And nothing like a good community in good food. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
with fresh soup.
All people when you made that point, you always study that we took off the Suki one time.
Yes.
And we sort of fatty with Suki, we busy. We went in the schools, and we got draft in the schools, and it's a big thing. No, like it just disappear. And we had a world champion. And I don't know if he's still world champion, but we have not had somebody else to step up, with all of the contribution to draft that Suki King has made. We don't have another junior Suki King come in, and that is not really, really good. That definitely is not good. Not good at all. That,
But the other many policies, Melissa, before you move on quickly, they're just asking, we want the full support of parents, teachers, community leaders. We need those full support to make this a success. And we will go around doing that. So just want to conclude it with asking for full support.
now, I think that you hit on a really important thing is this government like influencers, consultants.
Yes.
But that's all right if they was doing the right thing and helping to influence the public to engage but I don't know.
You carry story where you want to go. Because we need the influencers in community development.
Yes.
We need those people that inspire and to get our people interested and conscious about what they can do to bring out the skills and the talents.
Yes.
Rather than have to be begging people to come manage community centers, get your influencers at community development level in the communities, getting the kids out and getting them active. I know I got to make this here. I go up, it doesn't affect anybody. It's all to do with community, because it's a community activity. 19 when Prime Minister Molly became the minister responsible for youth and education.
Yes.
Back in 1994. She brought on a whole series of people, youth commissioners. A couple of weeks ago, the union was saying, I think last week, Saturday, I went to the union and UPW's conference, right? And I was told that the youth commissioners were going to be weeded out, right? And they were going to be sent to another department called empowerment. and they were supposed to become what's a fancy name for it, but they were supposed to move. I don't know what the latest. I know that was not today the first, and all these transfers, amalgamations, all the things were supposed to start from today. Yeah, all the joint, like the MP, the oil,
Yes.
energy.
The merger.
Yes.
That was happened. The UDC, RDC one was to happen from today.
Okay.
Then the empowerment and the youth commissioners
Beginning of the new financial year.
were all that was supposed to happen. I don't know what's happened. But what I'm saying, those youth commissioners came out and they went into the communities with the hope that they would have energized communities back in 1994, 95. My political consciousness told me that they had a political intent. Okay. Now I'm hearing that most of them are now 94, and most of them were 25. That's 29 years hence. So then most of them are going to be in the 50s. So they're no longer young people. So they want to read them out and bring another young crowd to go in and do what they did in 1994 to enhance the political messages of the government.
Okay.
So I am waiting with my breath bated to hear what's happened with them. I hear the union, they get a chance to talk to the union, but I'm told that nothing happened today. That they're still at the youth department. So I'm going to wait tomorrow and see if that changes. But as a member of the staff or the leader of the opposition, I think it is my responsibility to have my ears on the ground.
Sure.
As you should.
And those are community practitioners
Yes.
working in the community. And if you're going to move them out, I think they'll be leaving a vacuum.
Yes.
And you would have needed, if you were serious, you would have to be training. If you had the intention was to move them out, you should have been training and preparing who's going to replace to do the community work.
So it would have been smooth.
A smooth transition. But they tell you those things called the saints.
Yeah. Yes.
Back
Yes.
to Simon.
Yes.
We're on building partnerships. How important are partnerships between government, the NGOs, and the community organizations in achieving effective community development?
Yes. Effective community development requires a collaboration, and not only collaboration, Melissa rightfully said it, a partnership between the NGOs, organizations, state agencies, and all stakeholders. There's a need for that. We need to engage the people to understand their existing concerns. After we engage the people and we understand their existing concerns, we need to create a shared vision. After we create that shared vision, then we will create an action plan. But the action plan must be well thought out. And not only well thought out, it must be comprehended in a way that majority of us understand, which is very important. It must link the objectives, the responsibilities, and the resources together. So there's a need for partnership and collaboration between all of the stakeholders.
Look, you know, I had a harp. You plan and create a workshop, used to own the community center. If you want, you gotta ask them.
Yes.
USCYG, Rosettes, they use Rosette, we have to ask the USCYG. When they're using it tonight or tomorrow, we can borrow it.
No.
Tomorrow, you diggers, they had to ask diggers. If you can use diggers center.
Yes.
The communities, groups, you used to own them and look after them and care them and clean them. So you don't have to advertise for people to manage the centers.
Yes.
Trains used to control trains.
Yes.
Trains Northern. We could go through it. The one that St. Silas, that George Payne used to be a member of, them used to control Baywoods. All the commission, even in St. Lucie, Manly Bill and them boys used to control, and boys and then in order you go ask the club. If you know you need to ask community development to ask so the secretary of the club or the president of the club. Now they're gonna be asking, so there's no collaboration. There's no collaboration in the community, so you'll be having problems.
Yes.
And collaboration start with youth in the center.
Correct. So there's a need for that. You know, there only recently somebody spoke to me about a give back program.
Yes.
And I think that will be useful too as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's very useful. There need to be a collaboration and a partnership within the community.
There's the youth service.
Yes.
There's got to be some connection between community development and youth service. That's it. The independence, what is it called? Community independence. Yes.
Separation.
Where's the connection between the gathering and all these things in community development? I thought you want to say, Thomas, you're going to let go of things and catch it.
But no, you said St. Thomas not close to you there. You know, St. Thomas is the only parish to a community center in Barbados.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, the only parish to a community center.
Well,
Carrie says that a lot.
yeah. Wonder what
Mhm.
then I represented for nearly 40 years.
Thank you for it.
She got old up there and still got community
So
center.
they got more.
Barbados left party constituency since 1971.
Yes.
Before a community
But let me
center.
want the development though. Let me want a community development though. I know it. That I didn't really realize that.
Yes.
You know, St. Joseph got two.
Yes. There are 32 others. St. Thomas ago.
They got none.
There are 32 others, but they're not functioning there.
And see,
Asking for managers.
we have a serious task as a government in it. We recognize what the challenges are.
Mhm.
We recognize, and I think we've got experienced old heads, and we got brilliant young ones. We have a leader who is a community-based person. You see, be active in presents community. He's a manager of a dance group, played cricket. He's a community-minded
Team
person.
oriented.
Right. And therefore we are onto a good thing. And we have to build on the resources we have. When we sit around the table here, like Saturday when we were doing the education consultation, and you heard wisdom, ideas,
Suggestions. Yeah.
it was fascinating. You know, when we look at other things that we've been doing, there is a force behind it. There's a recognition that Barbados needs new vision, new direction. It needs a community-driven leadership
Yes.
that involves participation, commitment, collaboration, teamwork, and most of all, love and caring.
Yes.
It must be loving and caring. Be willing to share and don't bully people and don't boss people. We gotta be honest. Barbadians are starting to grumble. We have to tell them we're not in that. We're not in that. We are not going to be like that. We're not in that.
Honest voices for the people.
We're honest.
Honest.
And collaborative. We are going to not go ahead of the people. We're going to tell them, give me and watch me. We say, let's share, let's move together. Let's move together.
Right. Derek, we're going to keep the spotlight on you for a moment.
The youngest person here,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We're dealing with practical experience.
Mm.
So from your experience as a community development practitioner,
Mm.
what have been some of the most impactful projects that you've worked on?
Lord, you tell me next week.
So we only have 15 more minutes.
No, I don't blow my trumpet by with the president of the Volleyball Association. I would say that the development of volleyball in Barbados was a major community development program. It brought a lot of young people who would have been out on the streets in the 1970s into organized activity that moved Barbados from being last at the first Caribbean Volleyball Championships, last at the second one, to winning the most of any country in the Caribbean. And I think for country 166 members, that we followed the legacy of cricket, that we get out of a population that small. And with limited resources all through those years. When we went to the Caribbean Championship, won the first one, our national stadium, they ready. But we were still be able to go to Bahamas, beat people on. The first time we played on hard court on indoor stadium was in Guyana. And we saw people 30 minutes skating. We come from playing for the Barbarian 30 minutes. By the time we left Guyana that year, we were as good as the rest, David. And therefore, I tried to as a community development project, St. George, St. Philip,
Got a lot of
St.
players came
James.
from Deacon.
the people see at the center, progressive, St. Jude's, St. 4 teams. You know, people going to remember those players, right? But that's St. Catherine. That another team, course, they not coming up with always concept. We had another group there. No man, that's a my side of the team too, but that's another team there that was very good too. The guy with that fine to play for them. But I mean, quick shirts had teams.
Yes.
So it was a community development project that went into a national sport. It started with Deacons and 4 teams. And I thought that was a major team.
Yeah.
Also, the Barbados Youth Service as a project came out of Roy Strong, Rock Boys, and Amoy Gilding, the DLP team. We got very respect to Mr. Rock Boys, a nation builder. I put a tribute on him, He's a mentor. Was a significant nation builder. Barbados was in that friendship. But I'm saying that because he was even involved in the youth service. But we had some people that built the youth service. I know it's moving. It's a community development program. It is about empowering people. Yes. That's what makes it community development. You empower people. We got people in universities across the United States playing volleyball. So they're empowered. We got coaches. Peter Van used to coach in states. Our first national coach was coaching in the United States because he started playing volleyball in a community. You can go by the hockey teams, all of those. Those are initiatives that were done. In the 1970s, I saw people may not see the same games as important as to see them. But in the Sunday games, got us busy, had produced national athletes.
Engage community.
Yeah, empower people again. Yes. Got people participating at all levels. I remember the last big one we had, Lorna Ford, who was one of the early Olympians from down Emerton. And she came out, she was nearly 50, 47, and ran at the games.
Nice.
You know, and that was a big thing for all of us to see. Lorna come and ran, she ran for Emerton. It was a big thing. So I'm saying a lot of community development things have happened. The independence activities used to be at the community level.
Yes.
Yeah, that usually community independence was a big thing. The whole place paint in blue and yellow.
Competition for schools, clean up the house.
Yes,
That.
we used to clean the community.
Yes.
We paint the community center as meeting for independence, not for Christmas. Independence, you understand?
You round the boats, used to vote for the fish round the boat, used to be the most independent thing out and park. I don't think I do that anymore. It'd be nice to used to let the drive around with the kids at night and watch the independence lights. Oh, things also used to be very nice to see with the fish lights up going on through. I don't know. I may see one or two of the fish up, I think. But I don't see them lit up. Yeah, I see them very offset. So I don't.
Look, we a lot of
Use a dead fish.
a lot of young people don't know about worry. That the sport we need to
I tell you, true, I learned worry from Antigua. My father used to live.
I don't even have an idea what that
And it's a game that we came from East Africa.
When I was growing up, we used to play hockey seeds.
Yeah,
We used
there's
to dig
actually
the holes in
worry
the ground
seeds.
and play with hockey seeds. My aunt had hockey tree, and we used to dig the worry board in bars, gap the sand. And we used to play with the hockey seeds. And then they had a boy in my age who couldn't play worry back in the 60s and 70s. And he shot at the corner top of Rihanna Gap. There was always a worry board there. Always. But it dying. It doesn't eat cherries.
Yeah.
That dying.
No, I refuse to let our baby and cherries.
I want to tell you
So far, I got about 9 and I gathering.
there is.
I gathering cherry trees.
Let's look at the challenges. What are some of the challenges that you have encountered in community development work? And how can they be addressed?
I think our demographics change a lot. And
sure.
I like to be honest with people. You see deacons, where I boast so much about. The old deacon score You're going down from that rock down toward the beach on the left. They got Fernie Hurst. The average age in the whole originating score is probably 70. The children and the grandchildren move out. And the people my age in the community, so the actual football and volleyball, we don't have those among the young people. But Charlotte is the same thing. West Bay Road, those are the same thing. And we got to start looking at our demographics and designing our community programs to meet the demographic profile of the community. Now we complain about the Deacon's Farm too. The same thing with Deacon's Farm. The farm is getting a whole community. And we need to be honest with ourselves. But when these people move now, going to Ruby Park and big for that, and the developments, there is no activity. There's no organized community groups. There's no sporting groups in these middle class communities. So that the communities of the emerging communities don't have a lot of community action.
Yeah.
So and we need to get our community members to understand that, and then we can't get them, tie them to the schools. Let's use the primary schools as the challenge and the focus. But we don't follow the demographics. We don't do the research. We don't tie up activities in the programs, the numbers, and to see what we can do. And that is what community development is for. It's also missing a research section. You can't be doing community development unless you have active research center that informs your decisions. And when you decide you're going to have an activity in the community, you have done your homework.
Yeah.
You know the community wants it.
Yes.
They can sustain it.
They go the box.
Yes, yeah, and that's what we're.
And that's where you see a lot of these failed government initiatives.
And when they say the Barbados Cricket Association, the Barbados Cricket League, the lack of collaboration between those two agencies running cricket into the ground. Lack of between the National Sports Council, the Barbados Cricket Association, and the Barbados Cricket League running cricket in Barbados into the ground. And community development should be part of the exercise in putting those together to deal with our challenges with cricket, football, volleyball, and sports. It should be the cement that brings those entities together. That is what community development is about.
All right, so let's look at the vision for the future. What is your vision for community development in the next 5 to 10 years? And what role do you think the Democratic Labour Party can play in achieving that vision?
We recognize that every community in Barbados, is unique.
Yes.
And our vision is to harness that uniqueness to make it better society and engaging the people. Our plan in the Democratic Labour Party is to uplift every corner of Barbados.
Well said.
Yes.
Well said. I concur. Yes, completely.
Community development has a lot of things about it, but one is empowering people to help themselves and to contribute to national development. And the Democratic Labour Party is about empowering people, providing them with the skills, the technology, the resources to help them to help themselves and to build resilient and sustainable communities. And that is the vision of the Democratic Labour Party. It looks to the future, build strong communities, strong party.
That was the vision of Aaron Barrow, to have a social party.
Yes.
Yes.
So under us, definitely will actually change.
Yes.
So as we wrap up, because we're in our final 2 minutes, what key message would you like to leave the audience with about the importance of modern community development?
Get involved. This is your country. This is your community. This is our community. We need to get involved. If not now, when? If not us, it's time.
Yeah, community development is a dynamic process, a dynamic institution, and a discipline. It keeps changing as communities change, resources change, technology change, so it has to keep changing. But the key thing about it is that people, you can want a better call.
Yes.
Get involved. It depends on you, the people who live in the community, to help your communities to be sustainable, to be resilient, and to be strong.
And to be loving as well too, you know?
Yes, we need our full
Yeah, you know.
support. We need our full support and commitment from all stakeholders, from parents, from teachers, from community leaders. We need that full support.
Okay, thank you guys for being here tonight.
Well, thank you.
Our pleasure. Our
Thank you
pleasure.
to the audience for joining us tonight and engaging with us and your comments or contributions to the show. So have a good night and thank you once again.
God bless.
God bless.
Yes.